I'm Whitney.
I'm Mindy.
And I'm Deb.
We're three best friends who love nerdy things.
Well, some people think we're nerdy, but we think we're pretty awesome.
This is our nerdiest thing.
Hello, fellow nerds, and welcome to Our Nerdiest Thing. Today we have a very special guest, author Elle Mitchell. Elle is an avid reader, daydreamer, and devourer of knowledge. When she isn't existing inside her own head, she enjoys spending time with her husband and children, traveling, hiking, and finding joy in the ordinary. She writes stories centered around flawed, morally gray characters. She is the author of Broken People, Broken Apart, and her most recent release, Broken Reverie. Welcome to the podcast, Elle. Thank you for being here today.
Happy to be here.
I'm so excited to meet you. I think I tagged you on Instagram this week that I literally, when I was reading Broken People, I cried for like 2 hours while I was reading it. So I would appreciate no tears this evening. I'm like not a crier. It just really, really resonated with me. I thought both books were just fantastic.
Thank you. I cried writing them. So I mean, I've just always been a reader and I've always kind of wanted to make the jump. And I was like, well, eventually, maybe someday I'll have an idea and that'll be my book. Yeah, one day I was just running and I had an idea. And so I started writing and it took months, but I had a book.
What do you like to read?
A lot of different things. It depends on like what kind of mood I'm in my life. I read a ton of paranormal and fantasy romance, like pretty much exclusively for like 7 years. And then I got burnt out and now like I never want to read anything like that again.
But there's so much good paranormal romance right now. Like you might have read it at the wrong time. There's so much good paranormal romance right now.
I know. Yeah. Actually, like the last thing I read was the first A Court of Thorns and Roses book.
Yep.
Like everybody loves it, and I couldn't get into it. And that was when I was like, maybe I just need a fucking break or something.
Okay, so I will say the first book is not what makes that series. Yeah. You have to keep going.
You need it for the background, but it definitely takes off after that.
Yeah, all three of us, I think, read the first book and were like, I mean, I was fine. And then when we read the second book, it was very much like, this is the best thing I've ever read.
Yeah, absolutely. So what did you start reading after that?
Well, I went through infertility and fertility treatments, and I was like, I can't read anything sad or emotional. So then it was just like all horror, all Stephen King, all the time. Yeah, and then I just kind of started going back to romance and contemporary romance and stuff like that.
I read in your bio you do have children, though, right? So you had a great fertility journey?
A successful fertility journey, yes.
How old are they?
They are 6 and 3.
Oh, my goodness. They're like yours, Whitney.
I know. I have a 9-year-old and a 3-year-old. She posted something in her Instagram stories about her 3-year-old. I can't remember what it was, but it was something about being like a prissy or bossy princess something. And I was like, yes, me too.
Super girly and bougie and changes her clothes 3 times a day. Doesn't I can't dress her. Anything I pick out is wrong. That's not beautiful enough,
that's
Mom.
That's a second child thing, or second child girl thing, I think, because my middle is the same way.
Maybe it is.
Yeah.
Every time I pick out a shirt for my 3-year-old that I think she's going to love because it's Daniel Tiger or Minnie Mouse, she'll be like, that does not go with my pants.
Yeah.
Just like, okay.
My middle thought she had to wear the same color on everything. So like if she picked out brown pants, she was damn well wearing a brown shirt and brown shoes.
Tell your 3-year-old that's why Aunt Deb only wears dresses. Because I cannot match my pants to my shirt ever. I don't ever feel like it looks right.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Broken Reverie a little bit. I loved that whole theme, the idea of making yourself smaller for other people and basically saying you can just choke on it. Tell us a little bit about that theme and what drew you to tell that story.
I knew her from writing Broken People, and I knew like she had this big personality. And I just kind of thought like, that's someone that I wish I was more like. I'm not like that. I'm kind of more trying to fade into the background kind of person. And I saw someone like her as, someone that would get like stuck in a habit like that. She's the biggest personality in the room and kind of starts to realize like the older she gets that like people don't want it and starts stuffing it down and trying to, you know, fade into the background a little bit, but then feeling like she's lost herself that way.
Yeah, I started out the book with chapter 1. I mean, it starts off with a bang, right? literally and figuratively. And at first, I really felt like, I am not that personality, right? Like, I would never do that. I can't relate to that at all.
I would. 100%.
Well, but by the end, just that whole idea of making yourself smaller and feeling like people don't want the pieces of your personality, I feel like every woman can relate to that, right? Like, there's so much pressure for all kinds of things, right? What you're supposed to look like, what kind of job you're supposed to have, if you're supposed to get married, and what kind of wife you're supposed to be, what kind of mom, and all. I just feel like that theme is something that's very relevant and resonates with
for me. It was
anybody.
when I became a mom.
A lot of the feedback I got was like that with Evie was, man, I really could relate to her that way. With the struggles she's going through and not feeling like herself, and, you know, feeling like she's like stuck in a rut and she can't get out of it.
It's definitely stifling. Really, all your characters are really complex, flawed characters. So what draws you to writing those particular types of characters?
I feel like those are the kind of characters that people can relate to.
Yeah.
You know, you can't relate to the perfect person that, you know, she's got the perfect job and career and the best of friends and nothing ever goes wrong and she's making all the right choices. You can't relate to a character like that, you know?
Well, and that's like Instagram life, right? Which is how we found out about your books, right? And you only put like your top 10 on Instagram most of the time. You know what I mean? And so you do see that in people and you think, like you said, is that what I'm supposed to be acting like? You know, I feel like this, especially I think as you move into your 30s and 40s, there's this vision that you had of yourself that like, I'm going to be this mother and I'm going to, you know, make all my babies food and all that shit. And I'm like, I'm like, no, I am not going to be that person. That is not me. That makes me not fun. You know, I am one of those moms. I love to work. My kids don't get anything out of me being home with them. Those poor things. So, but I meant to send you our recipe for our cocktail for the week, and I'm so sorry that I didn't, but it's like chocolate liqueur, espresso mix, chocolate ice cream, and vodka. So I'll send you the recipe when we're done, but I really needed a refill, so pardon me.
Nice.
I was going to ask about how you feel about happily ever afters, because both of your books, for Ruby and for Evie, they end very hopefully.
Maybe it's more that they're hopefully ever afters. And I think that kind of fits better with my characters. I don't think that Evie and especially Ruby don't really romanticize life. They don't approach things like everything's going to go right all the time. So for them to have an ending where they're like, oh, you know, I'll never have any worries again or any problems and like nothing will go wrong for me, it wouldn't suit them.
So do you find that you relate more to Ruby or to Evie?
Oh, Ruby for sure.
Yeah, I do too. I'm a little bit more like, you know, I would definitely work at a bar and be the one that's like, you know, happy behind the bar. And then I go home and I'm like, I'm going to sit here in my dark basement apartment and read.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think there's a little bit of Evie in all of us, though. There really is.
Oh, I definitely think so too. I would say that I'm a little bit of both as well, like a mixture. Because for sure, when I had kids, I definitely like squashed down the part of me that was really like the fun part. Like I thought I had to play this part and I had to be this mom and I had to be perfect and I had to not cuss in front of my kids and all this stuff. And so when I finally realized that I just needed to be myself, my kids actually enjoyed me more. So how long have you been crafting stories? You kind of talked a little bit about what drew you into writing, but when did you start and what made you have that urge to write?
I think I've always had that urge to write. And I think that for me, a lot of it was just like, honest, like a confidence issue. Like I just didn't think I could do it, or that if I did do it, I would fail, or I wouldn't do it well, or I wouldn't meet like this expectation I had for myself, which, I mean, maybe I haven't, but I still don't feel like I failed.
But in any creative job, it's so hard to get your name out there, right? And, and you know, I'm sorry, I don't know this. Are you self-published?
I am self-published.
Okay,
yes.
right. And, you know, we it was a big interview at a bookstore with Scarlett St. Clair, but she was talking about how being self-published first is actually pretty rad because you hold the reins on what you want to do next if you do end up working with a publisher. And I thought that was so interesting because she doesn't have to kind of fight for what she wants. She says, well, this is the way it was already done. So you can take me like I am or not. And I love that point of view when it comes to being creative.
That's kind of why I went that route too, is I was researching it, looking into it and everything. And it's like, well, expect to be rejected, 50, 60 times, expect, no one to even want to read it, that you query. And then once you get accepted, expect it to take like another year to a year and a half before they publish the book. And I was just kind of like, I just didn't think that was.
Well, shit, by then Ruby's 40.
Like, that sounds miserable.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, I was like, I'm done. I want it out there.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
our podcast is obviously called Our Nerdiest Thing. So we all enjoy other fandoms and other, nerdy things. And we were just wondering if there are any other fandoms that you're a part of or any other nerdy things you enjoy.
Okay. Yeah. So I've noticed you guys, or at least some of you, one of you is a huge Supernatural fan.
Oh,
all of us.
All three of us.
We've done cons together. That's how we became
my
friends.
Jam.
Yeah.
I'm perpetually watching Supernatural.
Us too.
Yep.
I'm watching it with my 15-year-old for the first time right now, and it's so much fun because I've been watching it, for 17 years at this point. And so watching it with her, she's like, ooh, what's going to happen there? And I'm like, just you wait and see. It's going to be really, really great, so.
I finally got my husband to watch it this year.
Nice.
Oh.
And he loved it too.
Whitney, can you pull that over here? Hold on, we need to show you something, Elle. It's quite funny. This is my husband's studio, but this Dean also lives in here. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see him or not on here. He just hit his head on the ceiling fan.
I love it.
So we had one for years that always went to the con with us, and we literally checked out.
Yeah.
And we were gone for 10 minutes and went back up there, and it was gone. And they were like, "Oh, we never saw it." And I'm like, "Yes, you did. That's in someone's house now." So yeah, he's our favorite. But he will scare the shit out of you if it's dark in here. And you walk in, you think there's a guy standing in the back. Yeah. So that's awesome. I think Supernatural just brings people together.
It really does.
So one thing that we would love to do is our nerdy and dirty speed round. What is it? 5 questions, and just like the first thing off the top of your head, give me the answer, right? Don't even think about it, right? So our nerdy
first word.
First, just your answer. What's your favorite cocktail?
Vodka soda.
Okay, favorite fandom?
Supernatural.
Most binge-worthy TV?
Supernatural.
What's your guilty pleasure?
The Fever series.
Oh, yeah, by Karen Moning.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's a good one.
Outlander.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so last one. What book character would you get nerdy and dirty with?
I mean, a lot of them. I gotta pick one. Okay, Draco Malfoy.
Oh.
Have you read? So I have it on my TBR. Have you read Manacle?
I had such a crush on him when I read those books.
She likes the bad boys.
Were you growing up with those books as they came out?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. There's just, I mean, I think that's how we all got into dark romance was Draco Malfoy. So, Elle, have you heard about this fanfic called Manacled, where he and Hermione get together?
I have not read that, but I am a huge Hermione fan.
Okay, I'll send it to you because it's supposed to be like brilliantly good. But I keep doing like author arcs instead of reading that, which I'm really enjoying. But I want to read it so bad. It's supposed to be a little steamy too, which I can get behind.
Yeah,
all right.
Of course.
Yeah. Elle, do you have any other projects?
I do. I actually just finished one.
Ooh.
I might post like a cover reveal and title reveal this week. I'll tell you that it is called A Little Unstable. It is not part of the Broken series. It's a standalone, and it is a friends to enemies to lovers college romance.
Fun.
That sounds awesome.
Dual point of view and dual timeline. So like organizing it was a little tricky to do, but
how do you do that type of work? Do you have a whiteboard or do you have a binder, or how do you keep it all organized?
I started with it as 2 separate things and then just started like putting it back together.
Fun. I can't wait. Yeah. Do you have a release date?
I'm thinking April, but I don't have a release date yet.
Okay. So in April, I need to buy tissues so I can cry. So are there any other ways? I mean, obviously we're going to read that book and we'll support you as soon as it comes out, but how else can we support your work as a indie author?
Continue to post and leave reviews. Reviews make like a huge difference. I don't think that people like really realize what a big deal it makes, even like just leaving a star review, especially like on Amazon. Books are eligible for like different kinds of promotions and newsletters based on the amount of ratings they have.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
I didn't know that.
I
That's
didn't either.
good to know.
You know, I feel like I get most of my reads from Kindle Unlimited, but also like the people that read on there don't really leave any ratings or reviews. Mostly it's people that have blogs and stuff like that. They'll take the time to
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
stuff like that.
Is it helpful to rate on Goodreads? Because that's normally where I rate, but I need to go to Amazon too, don't I?
Yes.
Okay. I'll start doing that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, especially if you're reading like, you know, indie authors, because of the thing, you know, we don't have like this huge publishing house behind us promoting us or anything. It's
Right.
just us. And, you know, we're trying to get to that 50-star threshold so that we can be included in the newsletters and stuff like that. So,
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay,
good
that's
to
great
know.
to know. Thank you.
yes.
Yeah.
So obviously we can find you on Instagram. Is there anywhere else that us and our listeners can find you?
So I have a TikTok that I don't really use because I'm not good at it.
I'm like, are any of us really good at it?
Some people are very good at it. I'm in like a couple different groups with like indie romance authors, and they post, they're like, hey, look at these videos I made. I'm like, how? Yeah. Some people are really good at it, but pretty much I stick to Instagram and Goodreads.
You know what I've just figured out, though, Elle, to be honest, is I've started doing a lot of Bookstagram reels, and I'm like, you know what? I am super awkward, and I'm just cool with it, and so I just go with it, and if people don't like it, then they can make their own damn videos and watch them. I don't care. But I think there's an authenticity behind, honestly, not being very good at it, because it gives other people, like, you know, a little bit more courage to get out there and post content, so... We back
Maybe
you up.
there is. Sometimes I see mine and then I'll go to like another author friend's page and I'm like, I'm deleting that. I'm like, what was I thinking?
I asked my 15-year-old daughter if something was cringy, and she told me no, and went to my husband and was like, oh my God, did you see that video that Mom posted? And I will tell you, it has done so well on Instagram because I owned how awkward I am. So, I mean, I don't know. I think people really like that authenticity of like being a little weird and quirky and not good at videos, right? Because I mean, there's people also that are really good at it, probably have been doing it for a very long time.
Right. Yeah.
And that's probably like their 1000th take too. Like they probably have time to sit there and do like 80 of them, and then that's the one.
Yeah. Without kids, like, you know,
Yes.
sitting there pulling on your leg and yelling at you, let me in, Mom.
Yeah.
I'm like just barely at the age where like I'm bad at this stuff.
All right. Yeah.
I think to finish up, we always end our podcast episodes with us all sharing our nerdiest thing of the week. So we would love to hear something that you think is your nerdiest thing of the week or the month.
All right, man. I've just been writing this book and editing it all week. That's what I've been doing with all of my free time, is just editing and watching Supernatural in the background.
Okay, that's pretty nerdy.
That's
I love
perfect.
it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
What season are you watching right now while you edit?
Season 11. It's Amara.
Okay,
Ooh,
gotcha.
yeah.
Yep. And her dress that like her boobs never fall out of. I never understood
Yeah.
that. Like you have this deep V and you're well endowed in that dress. Like how come no boob ever
It's
falls out?
supernatural.
Right, exactly.
That's
With
her power.
Super duct tape on her boobs.
Well, thank you so much for being on. This was really fun. We've been really excited to do this, and we've really, really enjoyed reading the Broken series. We look forward to more. Thank you
Yes.
so much.
All right, have a great night,
Thank
Elle.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
For exclusive content and to keep up with all things nerdy, follow us on Instagram at Our Nerdiest Thing. We post book reviews, what to read next, and our cocktail recipes. Have something nerdy that you'd like to share? Email us at ournerdiestthing@gmail.com. This podcast is edited and produced by The Story Guides. Thanks for listening.